Hey guys, how's everyone doing? So I just got done watching The Last of Us Episode 8 titled When We Are in Need, and this has probably been my most anticipated episode out of these entire series because this episode is based off the section of the Last of Us video game where you finally get to play as Ellie, where Joel, after he gets stabbed and is injured, Ellie has to try to take care of him, but there's a section in the game where you have to play as her and you have to hunt down a deer and all that. And then you meet this character named David, which this episode very delivered on it, which every episode has, but, so far, I don't think this is my favorite episode. This is, probably, not my least favorite episode so far, but I think it would be right ahead of episode 3. It wasn't disappointing, but it was just my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it. So here are my thoughts on it. Starting off is with the character of David. Now, to me, I think David was more scary in the show than he was in the game. Now, in the game, he's just this guy that you find because after you kill a deer, David comes out and he wants to take it, but he wants to trade something for it too, which is played out here, where you get to if you get medicine from him, they get to keep the deer and all that, which they performed pretty good in this one, but instead of in the game where you're attacked by a bunch of flickers and bloaters and all these runners, instead of getting an entire section like that, they just cut all that out and go right to the scene where David starts talking about Joel and Ellie and all that, which I'm kind of glad that they cut out because I don't think a lot of fans needed to re-see all of that, or people getting introduced to this don't need to see how like David and Ellie make a great team, and then people thinking that Ellie should in fact go with David, which I'm glad they didn't do here. Me in the show, David was more cruel and scary. Now there's a part in this where one of the people that Joel killed in episode 6, the daughter of one of those people, like the father of one of the little girls, she is devastated that her father has just died. And when David says that they know who did it and they know where he is, and the girl goes, "You should kill them both." What he does, he's very relaxed. He slowly takes off his winter gloves. He goes over to her and he backhands that bitch. Like he fucking does that. And when he did that, I was like, oh shit. And what's scarier about him is that he's a religious person. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against people being religious, but every time I watch a movie or a show, whoever is religious, I think they're more scary. I don't know why, maybe because they're just a man of God and they just have all these wild theories about the Lord and all that, which kind of makes them more terrifying in my mind, but yeah, just him going up to her and just backhanding her where she falls off the chair. It was just downright scary. Now, this wasn't in the game, but they didn't really hint at it at all, but I'm pretty sure David in this version was a rapist. Now, I'm not being derogatory. I'm not trying to sound like this person that's just kind of making this up. I'm pretty sure in the finale of this episode where Ellie finally kills him and all that, before she does it, I'm pretty sure David was trying to rape her. Now, they don't really go out and say it, they don't try and say anything, but when he pinned her down, like holded her arms up, and he says, "You should know that struggling is my favorite part about this." I was sitting there, I'm like, um, I didn't know what to think. I thought they were trying to hint that he might have been rapist or he was just some sick weirdo because he does in fact kill people to eat, which I thought what he was kind of hinting at, but they don't really go out and say what was going on. They didn't even say it in the behind the scenes. That's just what I got from it. Now, I'm not trying to sound like this horrible person that thinks that this crazy person that eats people is also a fucking rapist, but I don't know. That's just what I got from it. Not saying that he is, but that's just the feeling that I got from watching that. Now, another returning cast member from the video game was Troy Baker. If you have not played the video game, Troy Baker is the person that voiced Joel in the original Last of Us video game, which I'm glad to see here. He plays David's right hand man, James, which I thought he honestly did pretty good. He was kind of Troy Baker, kind of in the game as Joel. He plays this like very deadly, fierce person, but in this one, he's a very quiet, shy person that just does what he's supposed to be told, which I honestly liked. I like seeing Troy Baker do this different role where he's more just silent and he just does what he's told, and he's also just kind of a shy person in a way where every time David tells him to do something, he's like, yes, and he's also kind of, and David kind of got him to be more of a religious person in this one, which I thought was a very interesting change, and it's a very interesting role to see Troy Baker play because I'm not used to seeing him in this type of role because at the same time this is his like first like screen debut. He mostly voices voice actors. Like I said, his main one is Joel, and the other ones that he's done was the Joker in the Batman Arkham Origins, and he's also voiced people in the Arkham games themselves instead of. He voiced Joker in Arkham Origins, but he's also voiced different characters in the Arkham games themselves. But like, I'm just glad to see another cast member from the original game has returned, and I believe what I saw from the preview that we got for the upcoming season finale was that is what we get to see Ashley Johnson, the person who voices Ellie in the game, is going to come back for the season finale, which people have been theorizing that that is Bella Ramsey's version of Ellie's mother that we never got to see, which I think would be interesting, but I don't know. I'm glad to see Troy Baker was in this, and I'm very interested to see if they bring anyone else back in the final episode by like last minute. Now, in the game where Joel has been injured, but Ellie gets medicine, where a bunch of people go to try and kill him and hunt him down and all that, but he captures two people and he ties them up in this room where he interrogates them, where he tries to get them to tell him where they took Ellie, where their base is, where their town is, pretty much. In the game, it's a very cruel scene. They bring it back here, but to me, Joel was more weakened in this one because he is just now waking up. But in the game, when Joel wakes up, you get to play him and then you fight off some of these people. You get to walk around more. But this is the Joel that is just now waking up. This is just the Joel that is still injured, still kind of healing from his wound, which I liked. And he's just punching the shit out of this guy, kind of like in the game. And then he's like trying to tell him like, "Where's Ellie?" And he puts a knife in his mouth to try to mark on the map. He's like, "This, but wherever you mark here better be the same place your friend over there marks." And it's a very scary scene, which I think, to me, they recreated from scene to scene from the game to the show, which I'm very glad to see because that's when you get to see Joel actually caring for Ellie more and what he's been having to do during the apocalypse, where he's been trying to find people or find something to survive, which is a different side that we got to see of him, which I'm glad to see. But like I said, it was made from scene to scene, which I was glad to see, and it's a very cruel scene, but it's one of those scenes where every time I play the game, it's a very interesting scene to watch to see how brutal Joel has been for these past 20 years. Now I'm going back on the subject when they kill David off, which I think Bella's performance when she killed David was by far the best, for me, was the best performance Bella has done in this show so far, which like I said, they kind of hinted. It kind of gave me an idea that David might have been trying to rape her. Which after he drops the cleaver because Ellie stabs her, she crawls to it and grabs it and like hits him in the head or neck. I don't know. They don't really show what she hit him where, probably in the shoulder if I'm trying to think correctly, and then she just goes all wailed out. In the game, it's a machete and she just keeps hitting him, and then Joel comes in and kind of just looks at her and comforts her and all that. But in the game, not the game, the show, they she's like just slicing him, but then takes the cleaver and starts stabbing him. But what the difference is that she actually leaves the building and Joel finds her outside the building and instead of inside the building. The performance by Bella there, by all everything that she's just been going through with David and this town, was by far her best performance as this character so far for me personally. But it was just so emotional when she started crying and started just to hug Joel. Her first reaction when she just saw Joel was just to hug him because she's been through so much and she just needs someone to comfort her. And it was just a beautiful scene. It was beautiful the way they recreate that, just like from the game. But like I said, pretty much identical except for the one little thing where she just leaves the building instead of stays in the building. It's a little hint, but it doesn't bother me very much. But it. it's a like I said, it was by far Bella's best performance as his character so far. All in all, guys, another 10 out of 10 episode for me. All these episodes have been pretty much perfect in my mind. They've all been great. And I'm very excited to see how this um, show um, ends. But if you played the game, we all know how it ends. But I'm very excited to see how they bring it to life. But this is an absolute awesome episode. But what did you guys think of The Last of Us Episode 8? Is this your favorite episode? Is this your least favorite episode? Have you played the game and did you enjoy seeing that entire section come to life? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, like it. And if you loved it, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next review or video, take care.